Hey guys, my name is Sergey Gusev, welcome to my channel. Today I will continue talking about portrait painting and show you how to paint a self-portrait using only two colors. But before I start, I want to remind you that you can download the full video tutorials from my web page. Don't miss this chance to improve your skills and get new knowledge, because I show how I work on the very small details, give you my best explanations and also show my palette. So if you want to improve your own artworks, just follow the link in the description. Okay, if you're ready, let's get started. As always, I begin from a very quick sketch. I'm going to use a graphite pencil. You can take a B or 2B graphite pencil to sketch out. Start with the big form, big silhouette, big proportions, and do not think about the details right now. As a surface, I'm using canvas on MDF. The size is quite small, only 10 × 12 inches, so it is going to be quite a quick study. You don't have to use a graphite pencil, you can also use charcoal or even oil paints to sketch out, but I think if you're a beginner, it is easier and more convenient to use graphite pencils, so do I. When you draw, don't forget about the big planes of the head, don't forget about the big volume, and to convey the big volume, you can start shading in the shadows. Just don't press the pencil very hard, because we do not need a lot of graphite on the surface. I would suggest to outline the eye sockets first, and only after that start working on the eyes. So make sure you found the right spot for the eyes, otherwise you'll have to redraw, which takes a lot of time and energy. Draw the eye sockets, find the right spot for the eyes, and only after that start working on the details. So let's sum up. To make a good underdrawing, you have to care first of all about the right composition, second of all about the right proportions, so remember about the big form, big volume, big silhouette of the head. Don't work a lot on the details, and start out from the big planes of the head. To convey the big volume of the head, you can darken the shadows. So you see, all is very simple, and if you follow the simple rules, you will make a good underdrawing. After the drawing is ready, you can spray it with fixative and then start working on the underpainting. But when you use a graphite pencil, it's not necessary to spray, so I'm not going to spray my underdrawing, and when I'm done, I'm going to start making the underpainting. For the underpainting, I'm going to use only one color, burnt umber, and as a medium I'm going to use stained linseed oil. You can mix it all up on your palette and prepare tones from the dark ones to the light ones. I also suggest you to add a bit of turpentine or odour thinner into the linseed oil, because it's quite thick. So it's better to thin it down, and it will be more comfortable to paint with it. I always suggest to start painting from the dark spots, and in this case I start to paint from the dark shadow on the side surface of the nose and in the eye socket. The shadow is going to be the darkest because it is very close to the light source, and as you remember, the shadows which are close to the light source are going to be darker, and the ones which are further away are going to be lighter. With the lights, it works the other way around. The lights which are closer to the light source are going to be lighter, and the ones which are further away are going to be darker. We call them half tones. So, in my opinion, it is the easiest way to paint. Start from the dark spots, surround the head with the darker tones, and only after that start working on the lights and half tones. I actually think that the secret of a good painting is in the right tonal values. And right now I'm going to try to explain this to you. First of all, remember that painting is not only about colors. Actually, it is mostly about the right tonal values. When we paint, we have to remember about the big volume, and big volume means the light and the shadow. If you have watched my videos, you know that the shadows are going to be darker than the lights. And we have to always follow this basic rule if you want to make a volumetric realistic image. Actually, it doesn't matter if we are painting or drawing, if we're painting with oils or we use acrylics or watercolors. It doesn't matter because we're going to use the same rules. Remember that there is a light source, and all the planes of the head which turn to the light source are going to be lighter, and those planes which turn away from the light source are going to be darker. That is why we see the volume of the head. If we turn the light off, we won't see anything. So we see things just because there is light, which means there is a light source. But of course it doesn't mean that all the planes which turn to the light source are going to be the same light. And of course it doesn't mean that all the planes which turn away from the light source are going to be the same dark or black. No. They all are going to be different in values. So the forehead is going to be lighter than the cheekbones just because the forehead is closer to the light source. The side surface of the head is going to be darker than the cheekbone because the cheekbone is closer to the light source than the side surface of the head. The chin is going to be darker than the forehead just because the chin is much further away than the forehead from the light source. This is how it all works. So look at the source picture, and you will see that the forehead is quite light. But then look at the further cheekbone, compare it with the forehead, and you will notice that the forehead is much lighter and the further cheekbone is much darker. It happens just because the cheekbone is further away from the light source than the forehead. So this thing you should understand to make a volumetric 3D painting or drawing. If you make all the lights the same light, you'll get a very flat image without volume. But of course we have to always remember about the shadows as well. The shadows are not the same dark or black as some beginners think. I told you that the lights are lighter when they get closer to the light source. But when shadows get closer to the light source, they become darker. So the darkest shadow in this portrait is going to be in the eye socket and on the side surface of the nose, because those areas are closer to the light source and they are in the shadow, which means they get a lot of contrast and become much darker than the other shadows which are further away. When shadows get further away from the light source, they get a lot of reflections and so become lighter. If we make all the shadows the same dark, again we will get a flat image without any volume. So to convey the volume of the head, we need to remember about the tonal difference, and of course we should look for as many tonal values as possible. The more of them we paint, the more realistic image we get. That is why I highly suggest you to make this exercise and try to paint with only 2 paints. In my case, it's burnt umber and titanium white. Of course, you can use some other colors like ivory black or even raw umber or some other ones. But remember that in this sort of painting you have to care about the tonal values. Actually, it is really simple to do because we do not have colors, so the only thing we should remember about is the right tonal values and the big volume of the head. I hope that watching this video you understand how important it is to work on the tonal values. I'm sure you can see the tonal difference on this portrait. You can definitely see that the forehead is lighter than the chin, than the cheekbones, than the side surface of the head, and so on. And of course I hope that you can see that the shadows are not the same dark all over the canvas. I mean that you can definitely see that some of them are much darker and some of them are quite light, but anyways they are much darker than the halftones. So here you can see how I apply the main rule. The shadows are going to be much darker than the lights and so much darker than halftones, because halftones also belong to the big light. I hope it doesn't sound very complicated, because actually it is a very simple rule, and after you train a little bit you will understand how to apply it. Just practice some more and you will be able to make a huge step ahead in your own art. And by the way guys, now I have a page on Patreon, where I'm going to upload a lot of new tutorials, where I show how to work on the very small details and also on the facial details with voiceover, giving my suggestions and explanations. I'm also going to talk about the materials I use, and the episodes which I'm going to upload on Patreon are not going to be ever on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching more and getting more information, if you want to improve your skills and get new knowledge, go and subscribe to my page on Patreon. Okay, right now I'm going to slowly finish this painting, work on the very small details. You see that I'm working with a very small pointed synthetic brush, working on the likeness, correcting some small details, working mostly on the lights and half tones. This tutorial was about the right tonal values, and I hope that you can see how important they are. It will be impossible to get this kind of painting if I didn't think about the tonal values. I really hope that now you understand how important they are, how important it is to remember about the tonal difference, understand the light source, its meaning, and remember that nothing is just black and white. It's all about the tonal difference. We should always compare tones to find out what is darker and what is lighter. Otherwise, we will get a flat painting without depth, volume, and space. Let me know in the comments down here what you think, if you understood what I was talking about today, or it's important to make another video about the tonal values and give better explanations. Anyway, right now I'm going to complete this painting, make the final brush strokes, and at the very end, let's see how it turned out. I remind you that you can download the full video tutorials from my webpage, find a lot more information on my Patreon page. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, put thumbs up and share this video with your friends on your favorite social media. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. I wish you good luck with your own artworks and see you soon.